Welcome to a YouTube exclusive after action report from the Orc with the news. Don't worry, I have my human disguise on right now. Doing machinima might have to take a break since my camera account was lost this weekend in the security blitz. I'm bundling this together with my normal radio broadcast. However, I am keeping this particular segment separate for a few reasons. First off, this commentary is going to veer a lot closer to editorial than news, and I don't want to bore people on the radio who have to listen to it. That being said, after this weekend's events, I feel like I want to say something. Truth be told, I'm still gathering facts, and my own thoughts about the hack on the server are kind of up there. I don't know what to think. I'm still intending to do more reporting, and I'd like to wait for Turtle WoW's official report on what happened and cross-check that with my own notes. So why am I blabbing, aside from the fact that that's what I'm really good at? Because in many ways, this weekend was very informative to me. I learned about the feelings of people all over the server as they let everyone know how they express themselves because of the hack. I learned a lot about the team, even some of the higher-ups, as I offered my services of being a voice to help the community, and I got to speak to some in private. I saw, in essence, many show their true colors. Now, I could happily get into the nitty-gritty of what happened. I could talk about the hack itself, what little I know, the response, maybe even offer my opinion about the hacker, but honestly, screw that person. I think they have got their 10 minutes of fame, and that's really all I care about them. I want to muse on what matters. As always, the community. For many, Turtle WoW is just a game, and that's fine. For some, though, this is one of the only places of social contact. It's a safe place to express themselves in an otherwise kind of crummy world. It's a congregation of friends and enemies. In short, for many, this is like a home. And what the hacker did was violate that sense of safety, that feeling of fellowship. And to those, and all too often with news or reporting in real life, the victims just become numbers, names without faces, ephemera to feel bad about and move on. And personally, the bleeding heart that I am, I just don't like that. So then, what is the real cost of this hack? Yes, it was down for most of a weekend, but I mean for the players. That is where what I learned comes into play. See, what I observed was players continuing the community without the game. People were helping one another, answering questions, offering to play other games together, jumping into voice chats, or just generally chatting with each other. It was a polarizing moment, but in a good way. It brought the shared experience of Turtle WoW as a commonality that we all share, and it brought us together more. And from the team side, I want to share this one story. Now, I won't say who said it to me. They know who they are. But try to remember that this team is dealing with a development crunch for 1.17.2, an advertisement push to get more people interested in Turtle WoW. Their YouTube channel just got nuked. Thousands of players all over the world are also their responsibility. They're juggling this while doing background work on Turtle 2.0, all while remaining a modest team compared to professional game studios. So when I asked how the team was holding up, the response I got was actually one of sadness. A reply that they had in part let their community down and nothing could repair that damage. That struck a chord with me. I've dealt with corporate types, government officials, and every flavor of public relations a lifetime ago when I was a journalist outside of the game. I was expecting minimalizing the problem, looking forward, words that urged me towards the future. This person's thoughts, their concerns, were still on the players, the community. Not all of those other mounting pressures that truthfully need attention. And I've reflected how truly genuine and human that response was, and how special it feels to know that through it all, they essentially felt like I did. Turtle WoW has been around since 2018. Not because it's the best, but because the team and the community are something special, and I truly believe that. That is part of why I do what I do, because the community should have someone keeping an eye on leadership, making sure we're on the same wavelength so nothing fishy happens. We all remember how I reacted about the loot box eggs. The team isn't perfect. We're not going to see eye to eye, and they should know there's people watching them. Not there to accuse, but to protect the community. And despite all of our differences, for one weekend, I think we all wanted the same thing. We just wanted to feel safe in our home again. Thanks for listening and indulging my desire to bring happiness to an otherwise tough weekend. I'll have more to come on this story, but until then, be good to each other, and I'll see you in game. Welcome to the weekly Turtle WoW News with Frograg Radio Edition. I'm your news anchor orc, Frograg Fishlayer, here to bring you all the top server news for the week of July 29th, 2024. Let's get to it. I'm the orc, and here's the news. Top news this week, without a doubt, was the sudden and abrupt server downtime the community faced amid a hacker compromising security for the Turtle team. On Friday the 26th, during primetime for Europe, there were some very public and quite frankly rude things said to those that were online through the server announcements. Shortly after, it was clear that there had been a security breach by a malicious party, and the whole server ecosystem was shut down for a majority of the weekend. In response to the security breach, the team claims to have taken extended measures to remedy the issue, including replacing server hardware, hiring cybersecurity experts, and not firing back up the servers until they exhausted every measure to re-establish server integrity. The community, in the meanwhile, mostly waited with bated breath for the servers to come back online, having an unexpected Turtle WoW detox. While many rumors and speculation still persist to today, little is known for certain about the hacker's identity, reasoning, or affiliation, if any. Official sources claim that the perpetrator did it for the lulz, however, many in the community were not laughing. By Sunday the 28th, around 3:30 p.m. server time, the servers were all back online. All users of Turtle WoW systems have been asked to reset their password as a precautionary measure and change any other website that might have shared their old Turtle WoW password as well. Furthermore, anyone who might have downloaded a partial patch on the 24th is advised to delete any new MPQ file. The team has assessed that the patch is simply an old 1.16 patch, but removal can prevent any future errors for when 1.17.2 drops. If you are unsure if you were affected, feel free to reach out in support channels or to knowledgeable allies of your own. I have heard from Acalix that an official report on the whole incident is due in the future. I have been working behind the scenes to compile my own independent data to weigh against these official reports to ascertain their veracity, but I stand by my principles of responsible and ethical journalism. I want the facts, not speculation. The community deserves nothing less. I did want to thank the Turtle team for working so hard on this problem. As I understand it, servers could have been online much earlier than they were made available, and the added delay was to further ensure server security. This overprotective approach is annoying for players and team members, I'm sure, but making community members' safety top priority is appreciated. In less salacious news, Volca made available for listening a 50-second snippet to be used in the Tower of Karazhan raid, a track titled Chains of the Lost. The video also has an image of a dark tower looming amid a dusky sky in the craggy lands of Deadwind Pass. If you'd like to hear it for yourself, check out the teaser channel. That is all we have for top news this week. Until next time, I've been Vrograg Fishslayer. Thank you for listening to Everlook Radio, and remember, the deadliest weapon is knowledge. Welcome to Market Watch Radio Edition for the week of July 29, 2024. I'm your market analyst, Vrograg Fishslayer. All our data is gathered from numbers provided by WoWauctions.net, the industry leader in auction house reports. I throw it all together to make indexes of various market sectors, as well as the S&P 200, an index of the 200 biggest and most influential commodities in the economy. Let's crunch the numbers. First, a quick note about market disruptions. Before we jump in, as expected, there will be a bit of a hole in the data. I was messaged by WoW Auction Administrator Doga and informed that the price checking bot was back up and in action pretty much as soon as the servers were back online. That being said, a lot of this week's market data might be a bit askew since weekends are usually the biggest buying period. So let's take this week's data with a grain of salt. Now to Telebim. The Alliance S&V 200 fell 60 silver to finish at 6 gold 10. There was a small run-up into the server downtime, but the momentum was blunted, and by the time the server was back online, it started to lose steam. The Horde S&V 200 gained 20 silver to finish at 6 gold 20, and had the opposite experience as the Alliance. The index was losing ground, falling as low as 5 gold 40 into the server downtime. Coming out on the other side, the index rallied up to 6 gold 20, where it remained for the rest of the weekly period. One market had an interesting dynamic this weekend between the two factions was skinning. The Horde started at 60 silver, fell as low as 20 silver, then jumped all the way to 1 gold 50. The Alliance, meanwhile, started the same market buy of 60 silver, but by midweek was up to a staggering 2 gold 60. Following the downtime, the Alliance skinning index crashed to 50 silver and only recently grew to 60. This up and down dynamic between the two factions really demonstrates how a keen eye on prices can be used to switch goods to the other side and make better gold elsewhere. Where there is a need, there is a profit. Over on Nordinar, the S&V 200 only grew 15 silver, finishing at 9 gold 45, but did reach a high of 10 gold 10 by Friday. Even with the server downtime accounted for, this looks like a very healthy and normal weekly cost graph for a healthy server. Prices grow towards the weekend and calm down by the beginning of the week, with marginal growth. Up this week was Enchanting by 5%, Fishing by 3%, Tailoring by 11%, and Skinning had an impressive showing up 27% to finish at 1 gold 62. Skinning remains historically pretty volatile. However, since the beginning of the year, it has been trending up. This week alone, items like Primal Tiger Leather jumped by nearly 1,000% and was further aided by a near doubling in the value of the Scale of Onyxia, as well as similar doublings for both Red and Blue Dragon Scale. On the downside, one index to watch has been that of the Zandalarian Honor Index. In the last few months, a Zanza has been costing over 6 gold, but this last week the price on the Mark of Honor fell below that gold price point. This might go as low as the prices of mid-March and April, where it fell to 4 gold 50, or it could have just been the slow raiding weekend. Might be a good time to stock up if you're a raider, if prices this low don't happen again for some time. That's all the time we have for this week's Radio Market Watch. I hope you found some of the information here useful. Make sure to use WoWauctions.net for all of your own market research. Remember to keep an eye on your coin, otherwise someone else will for you. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Welcome to Turtle WoW News' Community Bulletin, Radio Edition. I'm your host, Vrograg Fishslayer, here to bring you all the community news and updates on events going on in your community for the player and by the player for the week of July 29, 2024. Of course, many events were disrupted by the server downtime, but plenty still happened while the server was up this week, and more to come in the future. Just yesterday, Ziverhall made the best of the tail end of the weekend with an impromptu Sunny Glade Valley Day. Zorazar and the Wolf Skull clan continued making Reventusk Village a new home for the Horde-only RP group. The Nightingale Fair that I have asked you all to mark on your calendar for the last 2 weeks was rescheduled for August 3rd at 3 p.m. server time. Trust me, just mark it this one more time. Also happening on the 3rd will be an Alliance-only gathering in the Thalassian Highlands at 1:30 p.m. server time. It seems there will be a sermon held in honor of the Eternal Dawn, before almsgiving and succor is offered to those in need. Make sure to contact Serenial for an invite or refer to the event notice. While many things were cancelled, I would be remiss not to mention the many fun, spontaneous things that were happening with the community outside of the game. Just because the server was down, it didn't stop as many as 50 people all piling into the Nordinar General Voice to hear the latest information from Acalix. The channel turned into an open forum for a time, and honestly, it was very heartening to have witnessed it myself, seeing this community come together to support one another and help while away the hours while Turtle WoW was down. That is nothing to speak of compared to the downright heroic efforts seen in the support channel. Hundreds of confused players asking questions again and again, while the Turtle WoW support staff held the line and did their very best to answer as many questions as they had answers for. There might have been very little raiding this weekend, but the support staff held their own endgame dungeon, holding back the tide of players seeking answers. Though this is the community bulletin, I still wanted to thank those in the support staff for doing everything they could to help this community in their time of need. So the hack might have disrupted our fun for a time, but ultimately it has brought us closer together than ever. I can't wait to see all of you in game. Whether it's events, pugs, or just general fun, Turtle WoW is more than a game, it's a community. So do your part in continuing that legacy by getting involved. I've been Vrograg Fishlayer, wishing you all a fun week on the server. Loktar Okar. Vrograg Fishlayer here, keeping you up to date and informed about all the latest changes and adjustments coming to you through the Changelog. Today we'll look at the Changelog for July 22nd, 2024, which hosted 16 separate changes. Let's check out the ones most impactful with this week's Changelog Roundup. Druids met with mages at a neutral meeting ground to discuss, of all things, taxonomy. Evidently, a mage's polymorph spell changes the form of a humanoid into that of an animal. For druids, shapeshifting simply cancels this effect. However, because of the strict wording on polymorph, the Tree of Life form for druids was, until recently, classified by mages as a plant, and thus would not break the effect. An accord was reached by the two parties that mages would stop classifying Tree of Life druids as plants so long as the druids would remember to decurse. We'll see how long that lasts, but for now, Tree of Life should break polymorph and other movement impairing effects as other wild shape effects do too. Speaking of taxonomy, the foxes of the Thalassian Highlands were discovered to have a common ancestor closer to that of wolves. The Hunter Research Group dedicated to this effort have now given permission for all various hunter lodges to capture and train these foxes as wolves, since foxes are considered too independently minded to be trained, but the ones found in High Elf territory should make fine companions for those seeking a wolf. Following a narcotics raid by Dwarf Enforcement Authority, or the DEA, several hundred kilos of illegal performance-enhancing magic dust were found in the hovel where the notorious Shazra lives. This dust, while seemingly harmless, was allowing the mage salamander to have arcane explosion spells that reached out to 30 yards, when in fact 20 is the legal limit without a license. Shazra ran away into a river of lava where the DEA have yet to apprehend him, but for the meanwhile, the supply of illegal magic dust has been confiscated. If you see this wanted criminal, be advised he is armed and dangerous, out to 20 yards at least. And finally, a petition was read in the throne room of Ironforge from the neighboring gnomes living in the newly renovated Gnomer Reclamation Facility. The complaint read that since the founding of the new gnome home, the guards there were not properly charted as illegal to attack. Apparently, there were some offending members of the Alliance who claimed attacks on those guards was all a simple misunderstanding. Since the dungeon entrance for Gnomer is so close by, they all just assumed the gnome guards were the bad guys. Several Alliance representatives have now made it mandatory for offenders to attend a sensitivity seminar, and it is now formally illegal to harm the guards there. That completes the Changelog roundup for last week. This week's Changelog may be out soon, so make sure to check it out so you can keep on top of all the latest adjustments coming to Turtle WoW. I've been Rograg Fishlayer with Everlook Radio, reminding you all to stay informed, because the deadliest weapon is knowledge.